Hello, welcome to the Knitting Nirvana video podcast. It's Saturday, November 6th. Yeah, I've been a little quiet around here. It's kind of funny I'm saying that because I just recorded this really long podcast. I had to break it up into 4 segments so that it all fits on YouTube, and I can't release it right now. I've been working on a secret project, which I've mentioned, that is now finished. Yay! And probably within a couple weeks, definitely within a month, I'll be able to talk about it and put up the information on it. So I recorded this big, huge, long video podcast explaining all the background to it. So soon, I'll be able to get all that up and you'll be able to see it and know all the details. And yeah, but for right now, it's still a secret. But I finished that, which means that now I can start working on things that you all can know about. Unless you're my parents, then you can't now. So if you're my parents, which I have found out that my mother does, in fact, watch my podcast. Thanks, Mom. But now you need to leave. So you need to turn this off, and I will let you know on a different podcast when you're able to watch. So go ahead and turn it off, and I'll just keep talking. Because my mom, although she has learned a lot with computer skills, sometimes it takes her a little bit longer, so I don't want to jump right in and start talking about it in case she's still turning it off. So, yeah, so now that great big giant secret project is done, I'm starting to think about Christmas and what's going on with that, and starting to make my list. So one of the things I'm thinking about is for nieces and nephews is doing, I'll look up the specific pattern. It was in a magazine, I think in 2007, maybe. It was a bulky or super bulky weight yarn. And it's this really cool hat with the little ear flaps with the little cords that hang down and then like the big tassel. Yeah, it's not a pom-pom, it's a big tassel on the top. So I'm thinking about whipping up a whole bunch of those for nieces and nephews. I want to say it's like just over 100 yards of bulky weight yarn, or super bulky, I forget, per hat. So that would be really good. Also stash busting project to do. And I've got nieces and nephews that are teenagers and then elementary age. So I think that would be a cool style for them. So that's one of my thoughts. The other big project, I hope my mother's gone by now. If you're not, Mom, you're going to ruin your Christmas. You really should go. Been working on a project for both of my parents. I decided right after Christmas last year that I wanted to make them a blanket. Now, in my parents' house, they have, in their living room, this is pretty funny, they have 2 recliners, which each person has their own. Next to their recliners, they have 2 end tables, they have 2 lamps, they have 2 phones, and they have 2 remote controls. So it's kind of like, it's like mirror images. It's really funny. And it's always been that way. Well, they didn't used to have 2 remote controls. That's a little more recent, but yeah, and then there's a couch for anyone else who happens to be there. And it's always been that way. It's kind of funny. So I decided that I wanted to make them 2 matching blankets to go with their setup in their living room. And my dad's favorite color is blue. My mom's favorite color is green. And so blue and green also coordinate well together. And I thought, like a chocolate brown would be a good color that also goes with both. And one of my favorite color combinations is blue and chocolate brown. So starting right after Christmas last year, I started researching patterns and trying to figure out what I wanted to do. And I didn't want them exactly the same, but I wanted them, the 2 blankets to coordinate very easily. I wanted washable. I didn't want my parents to have to worry about hand washing blankets. It's just ridiculous. I want them to be able to machine wash and hopefully not machine dry, but could be if it had to be. I kind of hope that they don't machine dry it, but we'll see. My dad does the laundry, so we'll see. So I just started little by little. When I was out and about and saw yarn on sale, I would pick some up. Our local yarn store actually ended up being sold, but initially everything was 20% off because she wasn't sure if she was just going out of business or if she was actually going to sell it. So I picked up some yarn then. I did a lot of Cascade 220 Superwash, Barocco, Vintage. I can't think of what else. I'll link to my Rav page because I was pretty good about keeping track. I wanted things, had to be superwash, had to be blues, greens, browns, or something similar to that. And it had to be mostly wool. It didn't have to be all wool. It had to be mostly wool. I did use some Encore. Was it Encore? I think it was Encore. That was the most non-natural fiber I got. And I decided on the pattern. It's actually from a Garnet Hill catalog. Someone saw the blanket, liked the blanket, decided that they were going to recreate, how to do it, and came up with this crochet pattern of how to do it, which was really cool. Free through Ravelry, and it's this bullseye pattern. So this is not a finished square, but to give you an idea, you start out, let's see, sorry, I'm trying to figure out, this is all mirror image. I have a little trouble with this part, can you tell? You start in the center, and then I did the first 2 rows, that's the 2 brown, the same, and then I switched colors coming out. So then I have this light blue and this green and this light beige and so on and so forth. Then what ends up happening after this is I switch to chocolate brown. Put this behind it so you can see it better. I switch to chocolate brown, and then the circle ends up turning into a square. And then I seam, that's my coffee pot, sorry. The circle turns into a square. So then you end up with all these squares, and then you seam all the squares together. So my original thought, and as I talk, I'm just going to show you all of my circles because they're really, really very pretty. My original thought was that I was going to do blankets of 12 squares. So it'd be 3 squares wide by 4 squares long. So it's 12 squares. 2 blankets would be 24 squares. And I started this probably in May, and I really, really, really did a lot of it back in July. And then as I got going and I started putting it together, which by the way, I have a bunch together, and I'm not sure where they are. I have to find them. Oops, sorry, wrong side. Because I put this all away to do the great big giant secret project I was working on. I ended up thinking at one point that I was going to have to do 20 to do a blanket, 4 by 5 instead of 3 by 4. So then 20 times 2, I'm like, there's no way I'm doing 40 of these squares. I can't do the same thing 40 times. Doing it 24 times was a lot. There's no way I'm doing it 40 times. It's just ridiculous. So, yeah, but then as I started, all right, so then my mom was going to get this blanket. So I was going to do the 20 of them for my mom, and I was going to figure out a different blanket for my dad. I hadn't quite figured that out yet, but that was the plan. So then as I started like actually finishing the squares and putting the squares together, I'm like, you know what? It's only a lap blanket. It doesn't need to be like, like a twin size bed blanket or anything. It was getting, and I blocked it out. It was getting a lot bigger than I realized. So then I'm like, you know what? I think I can do the 3 by 4. So I think I can do 12 squares. And I was working on 20. So I only needed to do 4 more from the start. I mean, obviously each of these circles, I still am not done. I need to make it into a square. So I need to finish up all of these, make them into squares, and then I would need to do 4 more. I thought I was going to do 24, then I thought I was going to have to do 20, and then still come up with a second blanket for my dad, and still coordinating colors. So now I'm back to thinking I only need to do 24 to do 2 blankets, so that's really very exciting. So now this is back at the forefront of my knitting, well, crocheting, so it's a crochet pattern. But I think I might do like a little project. I think I just need to get a little project done after working on really, really big projects. I don't know. I think I need to throw in a little one. I do have socks still that I'm doing. I do have the iris monster still that I'm doing. Neither of them have gotten much attention lately. I've really focused on that secret project. So those are still kind of in the background. I also have another sweater that I stopped like back in May or June. It started getting warm out. So yeah, so I'm thinking about all those, but I really think I'm just going to get back to this crochet and get that done. And one other little tidbit in the 30 seconds we've got left before YouTube will cut me off. I'm pregnant, so I'm going to be having a baby in late April. This time we are going to find out the sex. Last time with my son we didn't. We wanted to be surprised. This time we want to know. So the ultrasound is set for December 7th. So as long as he or she cooperates, I'll know the gender after that. So I kind of want to get all my Christmas knitting done so that in time to know what the gender is, then I can start figuring out what patterns I want to do. And there's also some cute little sweaters, like cardigan sweaters that I want to make for myself that I can wear while I'm pregnant. So yeah, so that's all the exciting stuff going on now. I'm going to stop there because I'm over 10 minutes now, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.